Coming up tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, can a pill keep people from getting HIV? A new study is getting underway in San Diego. Some Sherman Heights residents are angry about a local landmark being torn down to make way for a Walmart. And a deadline passes for helicopters working on the Sunrise Powerlink project in the East County. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dwayne Brown. Joanne Farian is on vacation. Homicide investigators say a body found near Temecula yesterday is a missing Fallbrook woman. Brittany Kilgore disappeared last Friday, a few days after filing for divorce from her husband, a Camp Pendleton Marine. Kilgore was last seen with another Marine, 45-year-old Luis Perez. Today, he pleaded not guilty to charges of stealing an assault weapon. The other suspect is 25-year-old Jessica Lopez. She's being held on suspicion of murder. Investigators say her arrest gave them leads, guiding them to Kilgore's body. Some people in San Diego's Sherman Heights neighborhood protested this morning to stop further demolition of one of its most iconic buildings. Crews working for Walmart made a hole in the side of the nearly century-old Farmers Market building. Walmart plans to convert it into a store, but neighbors claim the company is destroying parts of the building without proper permits. Adrian Florido is following this story. He joins us from the news center. Adrian, you were at the protest. What happened when city inspectors showed up?
Well, they basically went through the permits that the city did issue to Walmart and said that it looked like Walmart was doing everything okay, that the work that they had to do to get this really old building up to code, essentially, to be able to house a store, that it merited making this big hole in the side of the building, which the people were protesting. And so that kind of quelled the protests sort of this afternoon.
And we often hear about folks who don't want a Walmart in their neighborhood, but this seems to be more about what's happening to this iconic building. So do neighbors there want a Walmart or not?
That's an interesting question. I mean, there are two communities that are being represented here. On the one hand, you've got a big sort of contingent of organized labor, union representatives, who generally have opposed Walmart no matter where the stores have been proposed because of issues they have with wages that Walmart pays as well as with benefits. On the other hand, you have community activists and residents from the Sherman Heights community, many of whom have told me, well, we're not necessarily opposed to a Walmart, but we do want to make sure that if it comes into the community, that it basically takes into account the concerns that people have about the impacts. One of those is that they want to see this building preserved, and so they were very upset to see that big hole in the side of this very old, iconic building that's been a part of their community for a really long time.
Understandable. KPBS reporter Adrian Florido. More than 1,000 San Diego Unified School District employees are appealing possible layoff notices. The first hearings began this morning at Kearney High School. That's where several hundred employees protested outside the school. Last month, layoff notices went out to more than 1,600 teachers, counselors, and nurses. The district faces a possible deficit of more than $100 million next year. The appeal hearings are expected to last through Friday. Longtime American Bandstand host Dick Clark died today of a heart attack in Santa Monica. He was 82. Clark was often called America's oldest teenager. He hosted American Bandstand for nearly 40 years, introducing rock and pop legends ranging from Buddy Holly to Madonna. For years, people rang in the new year with Clark's Rockin' Eve special. His company produces a variety of shows. PBS NewsHour will have a profile on the life and cultural influence Clark had right after KPBS Evening Edition tonight. The Dalai Lama will speak at San Diego State tomorrow. He appeared at UC San Diego today for a panel on climate change. Then he went to the University of San Diego to talk about cultivating peace through change. The spiritual leader of Tibet and Buddhism was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989. Tomorrow's appearance at San Diego State is already sold out, but the speech will be carried online. And Friday night, join us for an exclusive one-on-one with the Dalai Lama during KPBS Evening Edition. San Diego Gas and Electric says it will comply with safety orders for helicopters building the Sunrise Powerlink. The State Public Utilities Commission warned the company its choppers would be grounded if it didn't follow those orders. A spokeswoman for SDG&E says the company has had productive talks with the PUC and has met or is in the process of meeting the safety requirements. The helicopters have been grounded before because of safety issues. The search continues for a missing gray whale off the Southern California coast. It got tangled in fishing line and may be hurt after migrating in the wrong direction. Marine biologists say the whale could starve to death if it doesn't turn around. They were able to get some of the fishing line off yesterday, but she swam away. The Coast Guard is assisting with the search. In the final part of our Follow the Money series on campaign financing, we look at the rules for raising and spending money in San Diego's upcoming elections. Reporter Ryan Grohowski with our news partner, Investigative News Source, joins us once again from the News Center. This is the time of year, Ryan, when voters start finding a mailbox stuffed with campaign flyers. How do we know who's behind them?
Well, according to local law, any campaign literature, be it door hangers, news ads, mailers, whatever, must say paid for by and then name whatever candidate or committee paid for the materials. It must also disclose the address and city of the committee and candidate, all in 12-point type, which is actually different from state law, which only requires 6-point type.
So you might need glasses to read the fine print. Are there any exceptions here?
Yes, actually, if 200 of the campaign materials are created, there is no requirement for a disclosure line.
And what about telephone calls from campaigns?
If a candidate's committee calls more than 500 voters, the message must say paid for or on behalf of the candidate. And the committee must also keep a copy of the phone messages transcript along with a tally of all phone calls made for 4 years.
What if there's no disclosure on a mailer and is there a place for a voter to file a complaint?
Sure. Local campaign finance law is governed by the San Diego Ethics Commission, and I would contact them if you have any questions about any campaign literature you've received.
Investigative News Source reporter Ryan Grohowski. A study focusing on HIV prevention is getting underway in San Diego. Researchers at UC San Diego are involved in a 4-year study to test an HIV prevention pill on high-risk individuals. Joining me is Dr. Richard Haubrich, professor of medicine, who's leading the study at UC San Diego. Dr. Haubrich, it is such a pleasure to meet you. Now, you've been studying HIV research since the early 90s. How excited are you about the advances made?
The advances in HIV care have been incredible. I've gone from the days when I was taking care of patients when I had very little to offer them and their life expectancy was really quite poor. And I've really had the privilege of participating in studies throughout the years as we improved our therapies, got more tolerable therapies, so that now we can get most people's virus under control. And that means that their life can be significantly extended, almost to as it would be without HIV.
So tell us about the focus of this study you're involved with and how you're collaborating with other teams.
Sure. So one of the key things that's an advantage of being in clinical research like I do is getting to work with so many other talented people. So we're collaborating with behavioralists, pharmacologists, statisticians to put together a team to do this study to look at prevention medicine called Truvada. This medicine has been studied before and shown to be effective. But what's key is finding ways to help people be really adherent with the medicine. If they don't take the medicine, it doesn't help them. That's been shown from the clinical trials that have been done so far. So we designed our study to test a new intervention using text messages and something we call an alert worker to help people be adherent to therapy.
So kind of like a reminder to take your pill?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
So it seems like this comes with a rather steep price tag, about $10,000 a year for daily use. How can this research aid in bringing the cost down?
I don't know that our research can bring the cost down. We'll show that it can be done in a more clinical setting, not in a randomized clinical trial versus placebo like was done before. And so we'll look at the cost. We'll certainly see how expensive it is to do all the laboratory testing. I think the key to reducing the cost is the more medicine is used, eventually the cost will come down, as it has significantly already.
Is it a challenge getting healthy people to take a pill to prevent something?
It's a challenge, definitely. It's been a challenge through the years to get people with HIV to take their medicine. And so we're continually working on newer ways and working with our behavioral colleagues to design interventions to help them do that. And that's key of what we're trying to do in this study as well.
Then tell us how you're recruiting people and how you will determine if they are at high risk.
So we're recruiting by working carefully with our colleagues that are doing testing at the public health departments at our site here in San Diego as well as in our other 2 sites. They'll refer people who are tested for HIV, which obviously that means they're at risk since they're having a test, and they'll be referred to us, and then we'll do a fairly detailed questionnaire about their risk behaviors. And if they qualify by having continued high-risk behaviors, they'll be offered entry into the study.
And what kind of follow-up support will you offer?
So the key to giving any biomedical prevention like Truvada is pairing it with a whole prevention package. So that's going to include methods to reduce their risk behavior using condoms and repeated testing for sexually transmitted infections that can increase HIV, as well as repeated HIV tests.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the final question is, how will you determine if the study is successful after 4 years?
So what we want to do is to show that we can maintain people taking the medicine at high levels. And secondly, if this texting intervention improves that. So if we can get people 80–90% adherent, we think that's going to allow it to be successful.
Well, this sounds like a fascinating study. We wish you well.
Thank you.
Dr. Haubrich, thank you.
Pleasure.
A California politician is about to get his own cable talk show. We'll tell you who he is coming up. And lawmakers say the noose is tightening for an African warlord who was targeted by a San Diego group. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
Tonight on KPBS Explorer Wednesday. At 8, a young couple spend a year-long honeymoon in the largest wilderness area in the lower 48 states. How will they fare? River of No Return on Nature. Then at 9 on Nova, are you safe aboard a modern cruise ship? Researchers reconstruct events that led up to famous cruise disasters. And at 10, by air, road, and rail, venture behind the scenes with workers who get us where we need to go on America Revealed. That's all tonight on KPBS.
I'm Jeffrey Brown. On the next News Hour, the latest news, analysis, and in-depth reporting you've come to expect from our team. Join us tomorrow for the PBS News Hour.
The American people have named PBS
the most trusted source of news and public affairs for the 8th year in a row.
Trust.
The American people have spoken.
Thank you.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
The wheels of justice grind slowly as a North County man tries to get his name cleared in a 14-year-old murder case involving his sister. And a bill to stop employers from using want ads seeking people who already have jobs is making its way through the California legislature. Are the ads discriminatory? Attorney Dan Eaton is here to talk about some of the legal questions these stories raise. Dan, it's so good to see you.
Nice to see you, Toy.
Let's start with the Michael Crow case, the story out of Escondido. His lawyer is asking a court to declare him factually innocent in the murder of his sister. Hasn't he already been declared innocent in this case?
Well, not quite. The charges were dismissed, Dwayne, but he hasn't actually been declared factually innocent. So what his lawyer is doing is using a provision of California law that allows you to seek a declaration of factual innocence. What does that mean? It means he's seeking a declaration that Mr. Crow never should have been brought into the criminal justice in the first place in connection with this crime he did not commit.
And so what is he actually asking the judge to do next week?
What he is actually asking the judge to do is to, after evidence is presented, to declare him factually innocent and order state and local agencies in connection with any records that may exist about his connection with this crime destroyed, sealed, and then eventually destroyed. Why is that important? Because these records still exist, even though the charges were ultimately dismissed, and they can show up in a background investigation, for example, for a job. So this is a very important step that he is taking, and it'll be very interesting to see if he can establish the very tough burden necessary to get this factual showing of innocence.
Something like this could happen to anyone.
It could happen to anyone, that's right. And that's why, in particular, in a case like this, where he clearly did not commit the crime, he is seeking to have his name completely cleared in connection with this crime.
Now, someone else was found guilty of murdering Michael's sister, Stephanie, Richard Tewitt. So what is the status of his case?
Well, actually, he was convicted, and then it was reversed. Ultimately, the Federal Court of Appeals decided that there were some problems with the conviction. So now that case is still very much pending. But the issue with respect to Mr. Crow still remains. That is, he had nothing to do with the murder of his sister, and therefore he is seeking an affirmative declaration that he is factually innocent, that there was no reasonable cause to bring him into this case in the first place.
Well, the other story this week that raises some legal questions has to do with want ads, specifically asking for people who are working to apply, and about asking for current employment information on job applications?
Well, you can certainly ask for current employment discrimination. What this particular measure, which was introduced by Michael Allen out of Sonoma County, would do is it would prohibit employers and employment agencies from screening out the unemployed, from using ads like "the unemployed need not apply." And the reason for that, says Mr. Allen in a video that's actually posted on the Assembly's website, is because, look, we're looking at 2 million unemployed Californians, and it's simply not fair for them not to at least have a shot at explaining why they are unemployed at this time or were in the past.
And from a legal standpoint, is this discrimination?
Well, of course, any time you differentiate between candidates based on any criteria, lawful or unlawful, you are in a sense discriminating. The question is whether this ought to be an unlawful form of discrimination. For example, it's illegal to discriminate on the basis of gender or race and so on. Now, this particular bill wouldn't quite raise it to that level for a variety of reasons that we can get into, but it would still prohibit employers and employment agencies from categorically barring the unemployed from applying or being considered for job openings.
And what does this Assembly bill say about those want ads specifically, and asking employers or employers asking prospective hirees about information on applications?
It says you can't use them. The provision, if it's ultimately enacted into law, and understand it's still a proposal at this point, would say you can't use those kinds of ads. Interestingly, there's a provision in the bill that says that you can say that you're only promoting from within. In other words, you can say you're restricting the process only to those who are currently employed at this particular employer. That's okay, but you can't say the unemployed as a group cannot apply. That would be considered illegal, and if you use those kinds of ads or you have that kind of a practice, you could be subjected to fines.
And quickly, we've got 10 seconds. What does this say, or what effect do you think it could have on employers?
Well, it could actually burden the hiring process, and the irony is, from the employer's standpoint, that it could make hiring more difficult and make the recovery that much slower. That's the argument against this measure.
Attorney Dan Eden, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dwayne.
California's Lieutenant Governor is getting a new gig. Gavin Newsom will host a weekly cable talk show. It's scheduled to debut next month on Current TV. It's a liberal-leaning channel. Co-founded by former Vice President Al Gore, Newsom will keep his day job, of course, as Lieutenant Governor. A San Diego group's mission to expose an African warlord may be paying off. Senator John Kerry says he wants the Justice Department to offer a reward for information on the whereabouts of Joseph Kony. Last month, the group Invisible Children launched an internet campaign to raise awareness of Kony. He's accused of kidnapping children and turning them into soldiers and sex slaves. Invisible Children's online video went viral and set a record for the number of views. Barrio Logan is a small neighborhood southeast of downtown San Diego. It has a proud history of Latino activism, but if you walk the neighborhood, you'll notice people's homes tucked right in between warehouses, auto shops, even recycling plants. For 4 years now, city planners have been working on a rezoning plan to separate those kinds of businesses from people's homes. Joining me is Laura Gates, the San Diego city planner in charge of this process. Laura, nice to see you. This is part of a larger city effort to rewrite the Barrio Logan's community plan. Give us a sense, for those who aren't familiar, with what a community plan is and why Barrio Logan is getting one.
All right. Well, as part of a state-mandated effort, every city is required to have a general plan. And as part of a general plan, in larger cities, there are community plans that are part of that general plan and are also help to implement the vision, the goals, and the policies that are contained in the general plan. And typically that covers land use, mobility, urban design, economic prosperity, public facilities, historic preservation, many, many, many different types of elements that help guide the growth and development of a city.
Mm-hmm. And why is Barrio Logan getting a new one?
Well, in 2008, the city adopted a new general plan. The version prior to 2008 really focused on development in the greenfields communities of our city, so mostly out in Black Mountain Ranch and in the areas where we had no development. Mm-hmm. So up until 2008, that development really focused on the more suburban neighborhoods.
And I can only imagine really having a recycling plant next to my home being an uncomfortable situation. How is this rezoning plan going to separate homes and businesses?
Well, quickly, just going back to the 2008 general plan, we adopted a new type of growth strategy. It's called the City of Villages strategy, and that really focuses new development on and along transit corridors within the urbanized communities. And so that vision that was adopted as part of the City of Villages really is a primary focus of the Barrio Logan Community Plan update that was last adopted in 1978. Going to the issues associated with co-location, that's having an industrial use adjacent to or next to a residential use, one of the primary objectives of this community plan update that has been in process for 4 years is to separate those uses.
So the question is, how are they going to do that?
Well, currently the adopted regulations allow for a mixture of uses on the same parcel or adjacent, which includes residential, commercial, and industrial. The community plan is intending to separate those uses. So, for instance, south of 32nd Street, the community plan proposes to only have heavy industrial uses with a prime industrial overlay zone that's called out in the general plan. The area north of, let's say, the bridge, calls for a community village. There are some industrial land use designations in that area. Those would be removed, and those would be replaced with a mixture of uses that are compatible with each other, including residential and commercial, institutional, and office. So we're really trying to separate out those uses from one another. The area that's currently in contention is something called the transition zone.
Right.
That's between Main and Harbor Drive.
And we only have 30 seconds. How, I know this hasn't gone without controversy and protest, how is the city compromising to deal with those concerns?
Well, we have two land use alternatives that are moving forward and will be studied equally in the environmental impact report, which should be out by the end of this year. So we're looking at two different types of alternatives, one that has more community commercial serving uses, and the other, alternative two, which focuses more on the maritime-oriented commercial and industrial uses within that transition zone.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Laura Gates. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
Coming soon on Need to Know.
Hey, he's not resisting. Why are you guys using excessive force on him?
I heard Anastasia screaming and asking for help.
I think I witnessed someone being murdered.
Watch a special episode of Need to Know, Friday at 8:30, only on KPBS.
Because of our members, it's possible for everyone around us to discover something new every day, right here on KPBS. And in doing so, our members make this a better and stronger community. Thanks for your support.
Tuesday at 10 on KPBS.
Welcome back to the Public Square on KPBS Evening Edition. Earlier, we told you about protests over the partial demolition of the Farmers Market building in Sherman Heights. The building is being converted into a Walmart, but neighbors say they didn't know the plan included tearing down part of the nearly 100-year-old building. There's been a lot of debate on our Facebook page. Julie Ann says, quote, "This is why we don't shop at Walmart. They ruin neighborhoods." From Ken Nielsen, we get this comment: "It could be so cool if they kept the main building intact and built around it like they did at Petco Park." And Jasmine Baldaris observes, "Crazy how things just disappear." On the other hand, Amanda Rhodes wants to know, quote, "Where were these concerned citizens when the city council meetings were taking place?" And Diane Mendoza asks, "Why leave an old empty building standing when jobs could be created?" The building was empty. It was attracting a bad element. People need to be practical. You can weigh in on the conversation by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, or simply emailing us your comment. Tomorrow night, KPBS will host a debate of San Diego mayoral candidates. We'll hear from them about the key issues facing the city. That begins at 6 p.m. in place of BBC World News and KPBS Evening Edition. Then on Friday night, join us for a KPBS exclusive, a one-on-one interview with the Dalai Lama. That's on KPBS Evening Edition, Friday at 6:30. Recapping tonight's top stories, appeal hearings are now underway for employees who got pink slips from the San Diego Unified School District. More than 1,600 layoff notices were sent to teachers, counselors, as well as nurses. The hearings are expected to last through Friday. And San Diego Gas and Electric says it has met or is working to meet safety requirements for its helicopters on the Sunrise PowerLink transmission line. State regulators had threatened to ground the choppers because of violations. And legendary television host Dick Clark has died of a heart attack. Clark hosted American Bandstand, of course, for nearly 40 years. He was often called America's oldest teenager. He was 82 years old. You can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks so much for joining us. You have a great night.